Hello and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen. Let's have a look what's behind the protests in Melbourne today.
Good evening. Hate has spilled onto Spring Street as pro-Palestine activists gate-crashed an anti-Semitism rally at State Parliament, sparking chaos. Police battled to keep the opposing groups apart, resulting in several arrests.
Fire, fury and two sides face to face in the city. This is what Jewish supporters walked through, police escorting them past a crowd angry in the name of supporting Palestine. They were trying to attend a demonstration outside Parliament, organised by Christians supporting Jews. The difference in tone there, startling. Old or young, it mattered little. Every person walking through targeted.
We were just on the floor. They wouldn't let us in. They screamed in our faces about being baby killers.
Never again means never again.
Some firing back. Earlier, a few blocks away, a now regular Sunday appointment. Palestinian supporters filled the State Library forecourt, then the streets marching. Today had all the indicators of a powder keg waiting to explode. Eventually, it did. Police ready. March organisers changed the route today to avoid conflict while protesting. That worked until the march finished, when much of that crowd joined the protest on Spring Street. About 100 metres and several hundred officers keeping a no-go zone between the groups.
Where are you taking me?
Maintaining the line, at times, impossible.
Move back to your own safety.
Without the help of the mounted branch.
And I want to see us all come back together and work together, because there's a legitimate arguments on all sides here.
Being vocal, saying no to hate is what we need to do.
This was the first Christian-Jewish gathering. Similar events are planned for other capital cities where there are regular pro-Palestine protests. Melbourne setting the scene for potential flare-ups across the country. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
The Israel-Palestine conflict, stretching back thousands of years and influenced by religious, territorial, and nationalistic aims. Today, we delve deep into its history to better understand its complexities. The begins in ancient Canaan, a crossroads of civilizations. Both Jews and Arabs trace their lineage here to figures like Abraham. Over centuries, this land has seen various rulers, the Israelites, Babylonians, Romans, and more. Fast forward to the late 19th century, two significant movements emerged: Zionism, a Jewish national movement spurred by centuries of persecution in Europe, emphasizing a return to their ancestral homeland. Arab nationalism, as the Ottoman Empire weakened, a collective identity began to form among Arab-speaking peoples, leading to aspirations for self-determination in territories like Palestine. After World War I, Britain took control of Palestine. The 1917 Balfour Declaration supported the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, promises were also made to Arab leaders, creating contrasting expectations and setting the stage for tension. Following World War II and the horrors of the Holocaust, the plight of Jewish refugees intensified the call for a Jewish state. In 1947, the UN proposed partitioning Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. While Jewish leaders accepted, Arab leaders did not. In 1948, Israel declared statehood, prompting an invasion by neighboring Arab states. Several wars reshaped the borders and demographics. Often termed Israel's War of Independence, and for Palestinians, the Nakba, or catastrophe, the 1948 war fundamentally shaped the region. Following Israel's declaration of statehood on May 14, 1948, neighboring Arab states, rejecting the idea of a Jewish state, launched an invasion. Israel managed to survive and even expand its territory beyond the UN partition plan. By the time armistice agreements were signed in 1949, Israel controlled 78% of mandatory Palestine. A pivotal outcome was the displacement of approximately 700,000 Palestinian Arabs. Many fled or were expelled from their homes, leading to a refugee crisis that remains unresolved to this day. The Six-Day War, though brief, drastically altered the map of the Middle East. Rising tensions, territorial disputes, and escalating skirmishes led to this conflict. Israel's preemptive strike on June 5, 1967, aimed at Egyptian airfields, marked the war's commencement. In just 6 days, Israel captured the Gaza Strip and Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. This essentially tripled Israel's size. The war's rapid end shocked the Arab world, leading to the 1967 Khartoum Resolution, which summarized the Arab states' position as no peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, no negotiations with it. The Yom Kippur War, named so because it began on the Jewish holiday, was a surprise attack on Israel. On October 6, 1973, Egypt and Syria, aiming to reclaim territories lost in 1967, launched coordinated attacks on Israel. Initially catching Israel off guard, the Arab forces made gains. However, Israel managed to repel the attackers, pushing even further into Syrian territory and encircling the Egyptian Third Army. While territorially not much changed, the war had vast political and psychological impacts. It fostered a realization, particularly in Israel and Egypt, about the high costs of war and paved the way for future peace negotiations, notably the Camp David Accords in 1978. This grassroots Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation began in December 1987 in the Jabalia refugee camp and quickly spread throughout the territories. Rooted in long-standing grievances against the Israeli military occupation, lack of political progress, and economic hardships. Initially nonviolent, with mass protests, boycotts, and strikes. However, as Israeli forces responded, clashes escalated. The iconic image from this period is of Palestinian youths throwing stones against armored military vehicles. The uprising lasted until the 1993 Oslo Accords. While it didn't end the occupation, it did bring international attention to the Palestinians' plight and shifted dynamics, making direct negotiations between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization possible. A groundbreaking attempt at peace, the Oslo Accords were signed in the early 1990s between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO. Secret negotiations held in Oslo, Norway, led to these agreements. The goal was mutual recognition and a pathway to a two-state solution. Israel recognized the PLO as the legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, and the PLO recognized Israel's right to exist while renouncing violence. It established the Palestinian Authority, PA, to administer parts of the West Bank and Gaza. It also set a 5-year timeline to address core issues, including refugees, Jerusalem, and borders. Despite the initial hope, the accords faced challenges. Israeli settlements continued to grow, and Palestinian territories remained fragmented. The assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 1995 by a Jewish extremist also dealt a heavy blow to the peace process. A more violent and deadly uprising than the first, the Second Intifada dramatically shifted the dynamics of the conflict. Often traced back to Ariel Sharon's controversial visit to the Temple Mount, a site sacred to both Jews and Muslims. This event, combined with frustrations over the stalling peace process, ignited the uprising. Characterized by frequent Palestinian suicide bombings and shootings against Israeli civilians. In response, Israel launched military operations in Palestinian territories, reoccupying areas previously administered by the PA. Ended unofficially in 2005. The violence and mistrust from this period had long-lasting effects, notably influencing Israel's decision to unilaterally disengage from the Gaza Strip in 2005. Hamas is often at the center of news stories on the Israel-Palestine conflict, but what exactly is this organization? How is it linked to Gaza and Palestine? Established in 1987, during the First Intifada or Palestinian Uprising, Hamas was born out of the socio-political turmoil in the Palestinian territories. Hamas is a militant movement and one of the Palestinian territories' two major political parties. It governs more than 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, but the group is best known for its armed resistance to Israel. Dozens of countries have designated Hamas a terrorist organization, though some apply this label only to its military wing. Derived from an Arabic acronym meaning Islamic Resistance Movement. While Hamas is now associated with its militant activities, it initially emerged as an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood, a pan-Arab political organization advocating for governance based on Islamic principles. The densely populated Gaza Strip has been a significant base for Hamas. Post the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Egypt administered Gaza until 1967 when Israel captured it during the Six-Day War. In 2005, Israel unilaterally disengaged, pulling out its settlers and military. In 2006, in a surprise turn of events, Hamas won a significant majority in the Palestinian legislative elections. This victory set them on a collision course with Fatah, the dominant party in the Palestinian Authority. By 2007, after internal conflicts with Fatah, Hamas took full control of the Gaza Strip, which they've maintained since. While Hamas governs Gaza, its relationship with the broader Palestinian territories is complex. The Palestinian political scene is largely divided between these two factions. Fatah, traditionally more secular and moderate, controls the West Bank, while Hamas, with its Islamist leanings, governs Gaza. The rift between them has often been a barrier to Palestinian unity.
Have Ilan Pepe coming to speak with us. He's a historian from Exeter University and the author of a range of really brilliant publications on Palestine, including his most recent book, Our Vision for Liberation, and many other books. These will be for sale at the end of the meeting, and Ilan has said that he can stick around for a while to sign copies. So please, make use of that. Ilan's going to speak for about 30 minutes, and then we'll be opening up for discussion. So over to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
In the audience, the guy from Sinn Féin and the girl in the black dress with the microphone organises the university protests in the UK. Yesterday at the State Labor Conference in Victoria, I like to check out the site. For one secular socialist. So I'll play that one in part 2. In 1988 came out the Hamas Charter. The Day of Judgment will not come about until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Hamas regards itself the spearhead of the vanguard of the circle of the struggle against world Zionism. Islamic groups all over the Arab world should also do the same, since they are best equipped for the future role in the fight against the warmongering Jews. And they're fighting about that in the backyard. Anyway, that'll do. See you later. Bye.